What's up, everybody? Today we are doing a trade recap on the day. I did take an L, and I'm going to explain why. It was actually a very avoidable loss, and I'm going to be breaking it down. I'll be completely honest with you. An issue that I've been struggling with is getting up in the morning. I've been having a hard time to just wake up in the morning and get out of my bed and get ready to trade for the day. Many times I've just been kind of like laying down, you know, I just haven't mentally and physically been prepared to go into the trade day, and that's made my performance lackluster. So I got to cut that shit out if I actually want to see results, and I'm going to explain in my trade recap where I fucked up and where you could have banked heavy on today. So let's get straight into it. I am trading on some Alpha Zero balance accounts. Um, so we've been trying to run up some balance on them. All right. Going into the day, I was bullish. As you can see, we are following this trend here. We've been pumping up. We pumped up almost all of London session and a majority of Asian session. We are making higher highs and lower lows. Wait, higher highs and higher lows. Sorry. We are respecting bullish order flow and disrespecting bearish, as you can see. Respecting bullish for value gaps and disrespecting bearish. Going into market open, what I was looking for was a retracement into either of these two hourly for value gaps on the hourly time frame. If you could take a look here, we had these two hourly gaps. I wanted a market open low high close. So what that means is market opens and we immediately start trading lower. But the candle closure on the hourly candle is a bullish closure. So what that would look like on the hourly candle is a huge bearish wick, but then the candle closes bullish. What ended up happening was we just completely disrespected all of these gaps. We inversed this 5 minute, we inversed this hourly, this 30 minute. We just inversed everything. We dropped, I think it's almost 500 points off market open. Yeah, nearly 383 points, almost pretty much 400 points. So at that point in time, there's your bias in wanting to go bullish is no more. You have to flip your bias at that point, and I knew that too because I was like, okay, this is cooked. So all these gaps pretty much are no more. They all get disrespected. So we can say goodbye to these 15 minutes. We can say goodbye to the 5. We can say goodbye to the hourlies. We can say goodbye to pretty much all of these gaps here. Because there's no point for us to go higher if we're just disrespecting all of these gaps. So what ends up happening is we take out London session low here. And below us, we still have this unmitigated 4-hour gap. So on the 4-hour time frame, where's our chart? On our 4-hour time frame, we had this unmitigated 4-hour gap. What I was looking for was a slight pullback into a bearish 5 minute or a bearish 15 or a bearish 30, whatever, for us to push lower and take out this unmitigated gap. What ended up happening was we created a bearish 5 minute for value gap, as you can see right here. We trade up into this bearish 5 minute gap, and we get I believe it was a 2 minute, and we get a 2 minute inverse out of it. Perfect displacement to the downside. I entered right there, stop above this candle here, targeting the unmitigated 4-hour. What ended up happening was I immediately got stopped out. Now, why did that happen? I'll explain. It was a really easily avoidable mistake. At this point in time, this is, if I can I move this? Oh, I can. At this point in time, it is 9:54. The 15-minute for value gap was in the process of forming. It was 6 minutes away from creating a 15-minute bearish gap. What I should have done is understood that, hey, we just fucking dumped like crazy. In order for us to attack this unmitigated gap, we need to tap into something that's higher time frame for us to give us that closure through. Because if you think about it, that stop raid from that initial 5 minute gap tap to push lower is us generating liquidity to go lower. accumulation, manipulation, distribution, and price. I pretty much was the liquidity in this sense. Because if we go on the 5 minute time frame, what are we doing here? We're kind of chopping around. Let's go on the 1 minute. What are we doing here? What are we doing right here? We are chopping around. This is accumulation, manipulation of that accumulation, and the distribution to that 4 hour unfilled. I got caught in this accumulation period thinking that this initial 2 minute inversion was that distribution leg, but it wasn't. I should have understood that, it's 9:54, 9:55. We're about to open a massive unfilled 15 minute for value gap located at our stop loss. There's a really high probability that we're going to get stopped out because we're going to want to tap into this 15 minute gap first, which is exactly what happened. We immediately get stopped out. Why? Because 4 minutes later, we create that 15 minute gap. Once that 15 minute gap is created, we then trade higher, tap into that 15 minute, and once we tap into that 15 minute, we end up inversing. Let's take a look. Wasn't the 3, was it the 2? Where are we at here? We get a change in the state of delivery, nonetheless. And right here as well, from this high to this high, is a bearish SMT. Because I believe, if I take a look here, ES tapped into a 30-minute, and we created that SMT. So this is perfect. We dump like crazy, we tap into a 15-minute gap, get a bearish SMT to go lower, change in state of delivery to the downside, enter short here, targeting this unfilled gap, and you would have bottom ticked it, and it would have been beautiful. I fucked up, and I should have understood that, higher time frame means higher power. The 15-minute is located at our stop, and our stop is no longer protected. That was pretty much the only mistake I made today. After that trade, I got off because on the zero balance accounts, you're only allowed to trade up to $1,000, and you can't lose more than $1,000. And I lost $1,000 on that trade, so we are done for that day. It's all good. We go into tomorrow with a new mindset, and we just keep this fucking ball rolling. That's pretty much it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.